What up, YouTube? It's your boy Rudy Ortiz, SoCal Epoxy Pools, coming at you today again with another quick tip do-it-yourself video on epoxy pool paint and epoxy pool paint restorations. So today we're going to be showcasing the top 3 brands of epoxy pool paint primer that is available in today's market. Now, these brands here you can find at local retail stores, online, through Amazon, Walmart, and Leslie's Pool Supplies. You can also find them directly through the manufacturer website. But in today's market, 2025, there are a lot of brands, a lot of different paint companies that have actually manufactured epoxy. Again, you've seen it in countertops, you've seen it in all kinds of situations, but when it comes to pools and epoxy pool paint, one of the things that you hear a lot about is people mention that sometimes they'll say, you know what, epoxy is no good. I had people use it, and in cases it does happen where epoxy doesn't last very long. But the reason it's not going to be durable and the reason it's not going to be lasting you as long as it should be is because you're not using primer, and the primer needs to be applied correctly. And so you need to realize what type of primer you're putting on what type of pool, meaning there are different types of pools that are from plaster, Pebble Tech. You have pools that are cement. I mean, you have all kinds of different pools, and so every pool requires different types of primer. But today we're going to be focusing on the top 3 brands available in 2025. So stay tuned. This video is very informative, and if you're going to be painting your pool with epoxy pool paint anytime here in the near future, you want to make sure you tune into this video. Stay tuned.
So the reason I decided to do this video with this primer was because I was working on the swimming pool, and I realized that it would be a perfect fit to showcase you the different types of variations of primer that one can apply when they're resurfacing their swimming pools with epoxy pool paint. So if you notice here, there are areas that are pretty badly damaged on the surface, and then there are other areas that are not as bad, that just simply have paint that has fallen off from the previous plaster application. So I thought that the best thing to do would be to apply the different types of primers so you guys can get an idea of what you can do in your pool, and depending on how your pool is and the condition that it's in, you can apply this type of primer on it as well. So these are the 3 brands that we're going to be working with today, and both of those first ones are from Olympic, and Olympic Pool Paints is a Cali Technical Coatings manufactured company, and then the last one's going to be the In the Swim, which is Leslie's Pool Supply, which is also In the Swim, owned by Leslie's Pool Mart. The first one we're going to be working on here is going to be the Olympic Gunzite, which we're going to apply to the area you just saw right now, and then we're going to apply the Leslie's Pool Mart primer to this area over here, where it's not as badly damaged, or there hasn't been much of the patch repair applied to it. And then last but not least, we're going to apply the Olympic brand Poxoprime II, which is going to be on the left side of the pool. So I'm going to draw a line down the middle from the Leslie's Pool Mart and then the Poxoprime II, and then show you guys what it looks like when it's all finished and done.
All right, so let's talk about the Gunzite primer by Olympic Pool Paints. This is going to be your Gunzite number 276, and the Gunzite primer is designed specifically for swimming pools that have heavier or more deeper cracks or areas that need to be basically leveled out. This primer is designed for that, along with this catalyst. Basically, when you open up the box, you get this guy here, and then you get this guy here, and then basically you mix them all up and you get your full gallon of epoxy primer here that we're working with today. And so let's go ahead and mix it in, show you guys how this works. All right, so once your lids are off, basically this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get, again, 3/4 of the way, and this is gonna go into this. This is your part A, part B, and that's gonna give you the full gallon of epoxy. Excuse me if the camera's off a little bit, but I'm actually working by myself here with one hand. So basically we're gonna drop this guy in here. This stuff is really sticky, really thick, again, because it's designed to cover areas that are in need of being filled in or that need to be leveled, this particular primer is going to be more thicker than the normal primer you're probably used to seeing on like walls and stuff, and definitely thicker than the other epoxy primers for swimming pools that you're going to see on the market. This is going to be a really thick one, and that's the reason it does such a good job. So when you're putting that catalyst into the part A, when you're putting the part A catalyst to the part B, primer, make sure you guys get it all out, because if you don't, then you're missing out on all the good stuff that's in there. So, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy mixed in, and I'll tell you guys how you can tell when it's ready to go. Right, so once you got your catalyst into the gallon of epoxy primer, you wanna go ahead and give it a good mix. And just so you know, the way you can tell that this stuff is done is all that caramel, darkish catalyst part is going to basically disappear into the gallon of epoxy primer, and it's going to turn right back to the same color that it looked when you first initially opened it up, which is going to be like a Navajo white. So I'll mix this all up, and then we'll get back to it.
So here you can get a better idea of the viscosity that I'm applying with this particular primer. It's a nice thick coat, and so it seals up all the smaller cracks and seals up all the areas that have been repatched with plaster. And the reason I'm using a brush here is because the areas that I'm covering, they're hard to get in with a roller. So the best thing to do is just paint on the edges, paint all the little areas that are hard to reach with the roller, and that way when you are ready to paint over that, it's already painted and you don't have to struggle with the actual roller getting it into the actual area that you're covering, or that you have covered ahead of time. Again, Olympic Gunzite primer, excellent for covering areas that are badly damaged or that have a lot of wear and tear or that have been repatched with plaster. And I did the steps areas with the Gunzite, and this is the end result on these step areas alone, and we'll come back and take a look at it when it's all completely primed, and also when it's all completely painted, so you can see the end result. So next up is the Leslie's Pool Supply brand. This is a great epoxy primer that you can find at all Leslie's Pool Supply stores nationwide, and or you can also find it online at lesliespoolsupply.com. This is a great brand owned by Leslie's Pool Mart, and it's also the same type of primer that you will find in the Swim brands. In the Swim brand is a brand that has been around for a few years now, and you find in the Swim brand products available on their website as well as through Amazon and Walmart and different large vendors nationwide as well. But Leslie's Pool epoxy primer is a great product here. You see me applying it to areas that are not necessarily damaged or areas that have needed to be repatched, but this is a primer that you want to apply over areas that are neutral, where you have some wear and tear, but nothing too drastic, because it is thinner and the viscosity of it is thinner than the Gunzite primer that you've just seen previously. Again, this is a great primer application. It gives you a nice satin gray finish, which I found it to be really easy to apply, and the end result is just as great. My only concern with this particular primer is if you're choosing to paint your swimming pool white, which I did on this particular video, you may need to apply an additional coat of white pool paint, epoxy paint, to be able to cover the gray areas so that you can cover it completely, since you're applying white over gray. But other than that, this is really a good product. I was surprised at it when I used it the first time, and I think it's a really good product that's going to be around for a long time. Definitely worth every penny, and I think it's one of the best brands available here in 2025. So if you can get your hands on it, and I think you can find this again at all Leslie's Pools Supply stores nationwide, retail stores, or if not online for sure. But if you get a chance to work with this product, it's a great product that I highly recommend in 2025. And last on the list here is going to be the Olympic Poxoprime II primer, available by the Olympic brand. Now, Olympic brand, again, is a company that is manufactured by Kelly Technical Coatings, and Kelly Technical Coatings has been around for a long time. They were your original vendors for the Leslie's Pool Supply brands, which were the Ultra Seal, Duraseal brands that you may have heard of. If you haven't heard of those, you may want to check out my other videos. But all the products that I used to use on my videos here were, for the most part, Leslie's brand, Duraseal, Ultra Seal. So this particular brand here, the Olympic brand, is the same manufacturer, and it comes from the same manufacturer. So these products are just basically rolling over into the Olympic brand name, and it is a great product that I highly recommend to use on any of your pool projects when you're applying epoxy primer and also epoxy top coat paints. If you notice here where I'm applying it, I'm taking the left side of the pool to apply this epoxy primer, and it's almost the same viscosity as what you find in the Leslie's pool on the right in the gray. It's just this one here comes in a lighter color, which now that I think about it, I probably should have used more of this one since I was going to paint the pool white. But nonetheless, you know, the Leslie's brand did a good job, and this one here is pretty much identical to that one. It's just in a lighter color, in a lighter shade of white. And so Poxoprime II is a great product that I highly recommend in 2025. It's one of the best products out there on the market. And another cool feature about this one is that you can actually apply primer over wet surfaces, which is pretty awesome. So you don't have to necessarily wait to have the pool completely 100% dry. You can apply this Poxoprime II over areas that are not wet, but more like damp, or that, you know, are have a little bit of dampness to it, and it should turn out fine. It won't bubble up on you, as opposed to the other primers that are available. If you apply that over anything that's wet or any surfaces that are damp, you can definitely cause osmosis, and osmosis will result in the primer popping up on you, or if not, getting bubbles of air underneath the surface after you apply the top coat epoxy pool paint. So again, those are the brands that we are showcasing here in this particular video. Again, the Gunzite primer, the Leslie's Pool primer, and then the Poxoprime II by Olympic Pool Paint. All great epoxy primers, highly recommended in 2025. All right, so there you go. There you have your completed swimming pool with various forms of the primer, from the different stages of the primer application and primer brands that we actually used to get this pool done. So again, you remember this side was the Leslie's brand, that side over there was the Poxoprime II, and then certain areas over here, like over here on the step areas, were a little bit more damaged than normal, and so those areas were primed with the Gunzite. So basically, again, Gunzite, Poxoprime, and Leslie's brand. The only disadvantages that I would say that would come with any of these brands, and I don't want to downplay any of them because they're all great brands, is the Leslie's brand. The only thing I didn't like about that one, and it would have taken the favorites of all had it been in a different color. It was a light gray flat satin finish to the primer, which is cool if you're going to paint your pool dark. But because since we're painting it white, it took a little bit more of an extra coating in certain spots to cover up the gray that comes with the primer. But all in all, I mean, a great product. I love the way that it was applying when I used it. I love the way that it turned out. It looks good. And again, those are the top 3 epoxy primers available in 2025. I hope you guys enjoyed this content, this video, and well, hopefully we can get some pictures and images of this pool
when it's completely filled with water, so I can show you guys exactly what it looks like. But other than that, farewell from West Covina, California. All right, so there you have it. Those are your top 3 epoxy pool paint primers for 2025. And well, hopefully you guys found this video to be helpful. And also, if you haven't had a chance to do so, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I got a lot of good stuff coming at you here in 2025. So again, the top 3 epoxy pool primers available in today's market. And again, this is based off of availability, application, duration, and overall look and appeal. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them on the messages below. Appreciate all the love and all the subscribers and all the likes, but we can use a few more. So if you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, you'll be sure to get all that good content with regards to epoxy pool paint and primer application. My name is Rudy Ortiz, coming to you from West Covina, California. Thank you very much for watching, and have a blessed day. Adios.